Cowboys. Um, wasn't the best game, but we did get the dub, so I'm pretty excited about that there. But it's also gonna be coming to the end of my Colorado trip here. So I've been in Colorado, not Colorado. I've been in California for the past week. I flew in last week Sunday for the game against the Chiefs, and then I decided that I was gonna just stay here the whole week, and then go to the game today, and then fly back to Colorado tomorrow. So bittersweet that I'm flying back to Colorado tomorrow, but at least I got a chance to chill out in California for a week. If I could go back over and do it all over again, I would still stay here for a whole week, but I would have got me a rental car, and I probably would have checked off a few more national parks that I wanted to visit that I hadn't visited yet. So I've been to Yosemite before, but I probably would have went back to Yosemite. Pinnacle is not too far from Levi Stadium. I would have went to Pinnacles. Kings and Sequoia National Parks, maybe a couple hours away from San Jose. I probably would have went there too. So I probably would have spent 2 days at Yosemite. I probably would have spent 2 days at Kings and Sequoia, and I probably would have spent a day trip at the Pinnacles, and then went to the game tonight. Would have called it. But it's what it is. I definitely come back to. I come to Cali. I'm a season ticket holder, so it's nothing to get to a 49er game. If I do plan to do this again, I'll definitely take that into consideration. But it's all roads leading back to Colorado, so I'll be landing tomorrow evening, like just for midnight. So but my plans for next week would be I do want to go back and hit some more trails. In Colorado, I'm really thinking, really thinking about going to San Juan Mountains this week. It's probably a couple hours away from where I'm at in Colorado. Um, and if I do that, that probably that'd be a good change of scenery for me. I can check out some blue lakes, a few waterfalls, and etc. So I'm thinking they definitely gonna hit the trails. I being that I'm not gonna land in Denver till um, late tomorrow night. I'll probably hit the trail on Tuesday or something. I may go back to Rocky Mountain or something. Thanks for the compliments. Just wanted to jump on live. I'm not married, love, so maybe at some point in life I'll get married. Single, ready to mingle, no kids, just living the life right now. So who knows what's in the cards for me as far as relationship goes, but I'm pretty open to that chapter. But it's been a cool week here in Cali. So I'm pretty excited about just the next chapter in my life. If you're new to my channel, I started this channel in May. My goal was just to capture and share my life stories with everyone that comes to my channel. So I hike a lot. I travel throughout the year. I like sightseeing, going to Niner games. I'm a season ticket holder there, so I fly into all the home games and I also go to the road games from time to time. So I'm just excited about the next chapter in my life. I'm also changing careers. I'm going into the federal government probably within the next few weeks. I need to decide which agency to go to join. I currently have 6 offers. I have I have one with the Department of Homeland Security as an analyst. I have a program specialist role with the VA. I have a another analyst role with the Department of Justice, an analyst role with the Department of Defense, and I have a analyst role with the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration. So I'm definitely excited about the next chapter in my life. I'm thankful to everyone who's kept me in your prayers on my channel. I know 2024 has been a crazy year for me, but I always tell people that sometimes you got to step out on faith. You know, when you feel as though it's the time for you to make a move in life, You got to do it. I know me taking a step out to pursue a career that has everything that I want. It's worth the risk. I in the civilian world, it's not too many roles that have retirement options. Um, I served in the military for 8 years, honorably, and my purpose for going to the federal government was just to maximize my time I had in the army because I worked 12 years in the federal government with my 8 years in the army. I'm eligible to retire, which is great. I mean, me being 41, I could retire around 53, 54. With pension and everything else that the federal government offers that the civilian sector doesn't. It's the best of both worlds. I will say, excuse my clothes. I just took my Bowser jersey off. I just wanted to get comfortable before I jumped on live. But yeah, it's gonna definitely be a. I got to make some decisions in the next few weeks. The three offers I got on the East Coast. One is in D.C. With the VA. The other two in Virginia are with the Department of Justice and Department of Homeland Security. The role in Arizona is with the Department of Defense, and the role in Washington State is with the FAA. So when I look at different things, I've been to 42 states. So there's only 8 states I have not gone to yet. The last 20 years, including the military, I've relocated the last year and a half, 2 years. I just like meeting new people, and the roles I've had gave me the ability to relocate, and my jobs paid for me to relocate. So I am in California right now, so it is 10:27 p.m. California time there. But yeah, that's when I look at different things in my life. The only states I have not visited yet, I haven't been to Oregon, New Mexico, Nebraska, Iowa, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Maine, and I think that's it. I think those are the only 8 states I haven't gone to yet. I do have a I do have another federal government interview on I think Thursday this week. And I got a someone reached out to me on Friday about another interview in Massachusetts I believe for a VA role, Veteran Affairs. They're willing to fly me to Boston for an interview. They're gonna take care of my hotel and my flight. Never seen an employer do that to a candidate before, so I'm flying me out to Boston, Massachusetts for an interview and putting up in a hotel. I'm definitely all about that as well. That's with the Department of Agriculture. So I'm definitely gonna on November 6th probably gonna take a flight to Massachusetts. 49ers don't have a game next week. We have a bye week, so pretty excited about not having to worry about a game. That give me more time to decide when and or which role I'm gonna take with the federal government. It's I said I wanted to have the ability to actually choose what job I want instead of them choosing me. And what that means is if you apply to limited roles and you only got one offer, then they chose you. But you apply for multiple roles and multiple offers come in, you can decide where you want to go. And that's what I wanted to do in this next chapter in my life. And I'm happy now I'm getting that ability to choose. Um, um, in Boston, Massachusetts. Usually with the federal government, when you apply for any role, what usually take place is once they close that announcement, I don't know if it's a system that pulls candidates and refers them to the hiring manager, or it's a team that actually goes and look at it. Um, but usually once that announcement closes, you'll get an well, I ain't gonna say you immediately get an email, but most times they give you an email saying you've been referred to the hiring manager. And then depending on how your credentials are, how your resume look, you may get interviewed, you may not. I've had several different roles in which I got referred to a hiring manager, and then a few weeks later, I get an email saying I was not selected for a role. So it just depends on their hiring process as it relates to it. But the person on either Thursday or Friday when they called me, they say that I made it to the interview phase, and they'll be doing in-person interviews on November 6th. And I said, well, I'm in Colorado. And she stated that, yeah, we know that you're in Colorado, but the in person interviews will be in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm giving you a call to see if you're interested in doing it and doing the interview. And someone would contact you about getting your flight booked and getting your hotel. I was like, wow. So that's pretty awesome that I got to the hiring phase regarding the interview, and you're gonna fly me across the United States just to interview for a role. So I was like, well, cool. I am interested in a role. I'll be standing by for that call uh, with the flight information and the hotel. So I'm excited about the role. The pay is also great for that. But as I stated before, my goal is to be west of Colorado or north of Colorado. But I will any government role that I qualify for, and someone's willing to interview me for, I'm gonna take the interview every time because you never know if a role gonna fall through, and if a role fall through that you got to offer on, and you had your mind set on just a particular role, and that role you don't get, uh, anything can happen. So any role that I qualify for and interview for, if someone wants to give me a tentative offer first, I go through the background and offer me a firm, then you want to have as many options available as a whole there. So having a military experience, it depends. I've been someone who I served for 8 years in the Army. I had a computer systems specialist job for 4 years and 8 months, and then my last 3 years and 4 months, I took a human resources role in the reserves there. So having experience in the military does help as a whole. My job in the on active duty also required a secret clearance. So I had a secret clearance. Those normally last for 10 years. So having a role that had a secret clearance, and then having an extensive background in computer systems, HR, and then once I got my associate and my bachelor's degree with my GI Bill, I went into staffing for about 8 years, in which I held roles as a payroll analyst, a data analyst, a project manager, a senior project manager, an implementation manager. Went into the distribution center role as an Amazon manager. I did that for about 3 years. I so I have an extensive background in so many different areas there, but the military does help, especially if we have a clean military record as well. So that's why I would look at it there. So I just want to make sure I'm reading the rest of your message. So having a military experience helps out a lot, right? How would you advise those that would like a government career that don't have military experience? So some of the government roles don't require military experience at all. So if you go to a the usajobs.gov website, and if you fill out your information there, build a profile, there's several different roles to the right that if you were to go, let's say you just want jobs that hire veterans, you can click that box and it will only show veteran jobs there. But if you're someone who wasn't in the military, then you can sit there and click a box that says open to the public. So open to the public roles means anyone that qualifies for a position that the job advertisement, uh, job announcement, then you can actually just apply for it. So all government roles don't require military experience. I will say if you're a disabled veteran as myself, and I have over 50% disability for PTSD, I get a 30% service service connection, it's like a point system. So me being a disabled veteran, for any roles that have veterans attached to it, I would get a leg up on the average candidate that don't have a disability. It's like a point system there. So it doesn't mean that I automatically get the job. It just means if it's a job that has a 50-point max of you getting a role, I have a 10-point head start on a candidate there on that end. So, but it doesn't. Military experience does help, but it doesn't. With me, all the jobs that I apply for in the U.S. jobs gov website, I have the jobs that are open to the public and the veterans. Those are two boxes that I check, and then any jobs that pop up from there, you can go in and put your salary range as well. So if you have a certain salary that you want, you can have the bar start at what your minimum salary is, and then it'll go up to 500,000. And then you can, or if you want to work for a particular agency, you can go down and click on that drop down box, and you can just select a certain agency you want to work for, whether it's the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, Veterans Affairs. So on that U.S. jobs.gov website, you can actually go in and you can put in a filter you want, and it'll show you all the jobs that's is available based on the filters that you have, and then you can just apply. I would just advise you to build your profile with your resume and everything there. That way, when you apply for a role, you can just click the box with your resume is, and when you're applying through the roles, when you get to the last screen, you can just hit the drop down box and select your forms. Like with me, I have a DD-214, a resume, a SF-15, my college transcripts, all that as uploaded forms. So when I get to the last page before I submit the application, I can just go and just from the drop down box, select my DD-214, select my college transcripts, select my SF-15, my disability letter, and another document there. So you have the option there. Warrior God, thanks for subscribing to my channel. Um, Really appreciate it there. And I don't want to butcher your name, Vicina. Thanks for the compliment there. I did trim up my face a little bit. Everything ain't lined up, but I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. All right, I got another question. Are there any job titles that come to mind for those that have a master's and have worked in the education? So, if you go to the US jobs.gov website, there are other fields that have your background in it. So, if you're someone who has a education background or a teaching background, you can go in and select that particular they're numeric fields. So if you're someone who want to be a analyst jobs, you can go to that series and select 343. If you're someone who likes HR, you can go and select that series is 200 and something. So you having a background in with a master's degree, you can just scroll down the series and just click whatever series that fit your background. So being that you have a master's degree. They don't have a degree as a box that you can check. But if you want education, teaching, instructions, all those are certain series on that website. So you can actually just go and click on every series and role that you want, and it'll decipher all the jobs as well. So you like me on my where I have my profile set up, I have about 12 states that I want to work in. So I have Colorado, Arizona, California, Washington State, Nevada, Idaho, um, Oregon, and a few other states. And then the other two selectors I have is open to public and veterans. And then salaries wise, I want a salary of minimum 116K. So my headers are open to public and veterans, salary of 116K, and series for human resources, management and program analysts, and about 6 or 7 more series. So, and then I have you can get them to send you an email of those type jobs every day. So I have about 10 different, I have 10 different, what you call them? I ain't gonna say reminders, but 10 different things that get sent to my email every day of different jobs that's available, and it send me a email around midnight every night for those 10 different. Let me pull up the US.gov website so I can describe what I'm saying because that way I don't sound too crazy. So the on the USjob.gov website, you can actually, what are they called? Yeah, I'm on vacation, but I take my laptop everywhere I go. There. So it's called searches. So save searches. So you can set up at least 10 save searches of criteria that you want. So whether it's locations, the series, the salaries, and etc. And then you got some jobs that require secret clearances. So if you want a job that don't require secret clearance, you can click a box that says secret clearance not required, and etc. So it'll have all those there. So the name of that site again, is a giraffe student athlete. It's usajobs.gov. And when you go to the website, you can literally just set up an account, and then you can, I would say, set up your profile and everything, and then from there you can just search. Or if your profile is not set up, you can just hit the search bar, hit the search box when you get there, and it'll have filters on your right that you can select. And then if you want to add different states where the location and remote is, you can just type in the state and hit enter. It'll bring it down, and etc. There. No, I knew I was gonna have gray hair because my dad, when I grew up, when my dad was in his early 30s, he had gray hair like 33, 34. So I knew at some point I was gonna have gray hair. So I started getting gray hair around 18, 19. Not like I am right now, but the older I've gotten, I'm 41 years old. But my gray hair, like on my facial hair and my hair up top, it's piling on over the last couple of years. So it's like every few days I see more hair come in, or if I happen to trim my beard. So this part here that I trimmed a couple of days ago, when I trim any parts of this beard, when it grows back, it's no longer black. It'll be gray. So like all of this here that's filling in, if I were to actually, I wouldn't clean shave myself, but if I actually was to trim all of this up here, when it grows back, all this gonna be silver and gray. And same thing for here. All this will be silver. I'll be a silver fox if I actually trim any part that's not gray right now. Um so that's what it is on that end there. So yeah, that's the goal. Someone said, "Get your money, my friend." It's all about it. Um, I'll always say you can never have too much money as a whole, but I would just say don't. You make the money, don't let the money make you. So it's just a situation in which I know I wanted to change roles, but I didn't want to like chase the job that paid the most money. If that makes sense, you never want to chase a job that pays so much money, and then because if you take a job that pays a lot of money and it doesn't make you happy, you'll be back you'll be back to square one. And to your point, that bread most you'll be in debt because If you're someone who does not know how to manage money, that can also be an issue. Like with me, I built a Google Doc spreadsheet years ago, and I've used that to track all my bills each month, what I got coming in, what's going out, what's due, and etc. And then I started adding other things on there, like my if I got any travel plans coming up, I have a formula built with how much money I need. I have all my hotels and airline membership numbers and statuses on that spreadsheet. I was able to pay off my student loans and my car and my mom car very quick managing on that spreadsheet that I built. And it's I've lived and died on that spreadsheet. I still use it to this day. It gives me the ability to manage my money better, and I like numbers already. So being able to just plug and play with numbers on my spreadsheet, budgeting is something I love, and that's why I've kept myself in. I kept myself humble, but also I kept myself in a situation in which I didn't get in debt because I know what I got coming in, and I told myself the other day I'm gonna go back to how I used to be. Like if I couldn't spend cash for something, I wouldn't buy it because it's the what I call it is the needs versus want concept. So you can be someone. I would just say if you know what bills you got every month down to the due dates and everything, you want to make sure that those bills are paid first before you go and splurge on anything else. I do believe in paying yourself. So if you're someone who, for a prime example, that get paid every 2 weeks, and let's say you get 3,000 every 2 weeks, but you know you got your cell phone bill you got to pay. You know you got to pay your electric bill, your car insurance, your rent, your renter's insurance. Um, After those bills are paid, then you probably need to look at groceries. You may want to look at gas. Then after you look at all that, then if you got more money left over, I still would say put some money away to the side every month. That way, if you want to go on a trip later on in the year, have that money put to the side, you'll be able to pay for that trip and won't have to rely on a credit card. So I've always said that that bread most budgeting should be in school. I mean, if people were taught how to budget their money coming up, I believe that when they get older, they won't be in debt. So giraffe student athletes. So if you go to the right where filters are, uh, and you don't want to look, and you don't want roles that have military background, go to let's see here. Let's see what section is that. So if you click on the box that had hiring path will have a whole bunch of roles there. You'll see open to public, competitive service, accepted service, veterans, students, recent graduates, and etc. So with your background, if you don't want a role that have veterans, just click on open to public, and that'll pull up only jobs that's open to public. So it wouldn't apply to any other section. So you got federal employees section, you got an armed forces section, a students and region graduates section, senior executives and additional paths. So if you're someone that has like a master's degree, um, what I would do is just click on the open to the public box there. And then if you were someone who, let's say you just got your master's degree, you can click on the recent graduate spot too. Because some agencies do like recent graduates. So if you are a recent graduate, you can click on the recent graduate box. But if you're not a recent graduate, then I would just click on the open the public box. And what that would do is that would only pull up jobs that's open to the public. So it's pretty much no one would have no one would have a an advantage over you. It'd just be anyone with any credentials would be there. So you may have veterans applying, you may have other ones, but it's certain filters you can put on hiring paths on that end. So if you're that I don't know. I'm pretty sure if you're on base, because when I was in the military, we had civilians that worked on base. Um, if I believe how it works is when you're on base, if they give you some kind of ID. As long as you have that kind of ID, that should be able to get you. I don't honestly. I don't know. I don't know if they actually get you on base or anything else, but I know with me, um, if you had a certain ID, you could get on base. You could get into PX and other places on base. So Army civilians as well. I think they get a cat card too. So I believe as long as you have a cat card, you should be able to get on base. So most of those Department of Defense's jobs that's on the website, they're more than likely going to give you a cat card. So if you get a cat card, that's pretty much the equivalent of a military ID. So you'll be able to get on base. You'll be able to get into PXs, the Class Sixes, the bowling alleys on base, and the other things on base. So you should have the equivalent of a military ID in the form of a cat card or something like that on that end, and the commissary and all that there. So me being someone that been in the military, the only role I would probably take on the Department of Defense would be Air Force bases, because me being an Army guy, I know I know how our bases are, I know how the Marine bases are, and how the Navy bases are. None of those bases are like the Air Force base. Air Force bases got everything. They got all the high end stuff, all the good things. They're in good locations. Army, Navy, Marines. Most times they're not in the best locations. When I know the Army, when we got deployed, as well as the Navy and the Marines, the what we had compared to what the Air Force had, night and day. I mean, I've been on some Air Force bases being deployed, and they're eating steak and lobsters on Fridays, and we eating MREs and other stuff. So I've uh, I've limited my scope of Department of Defense roles. So any military roles that popped up, like the Arizona offer that I received, is at a military base, Army base. The only reason why I didn't DQ that role is because that's at a military intelligence Army base. So I know that base has higher end things on that base compared to a regular Army base. So yeah, I've always teased Air Force people. I have two cousins that were in the Air Force. 90% of my family that went, well, 95% of my family that went in the military went Army. I had two cousins that went Navy, one cousin that went Marine, and I had two cousins that went Air Force. But out of all my other military family members, which probably could be between 1 and 200 of us that went military, went Army. So I've always teased the Air Force, my cousin the Air Force. You guys get to swim and ride bikes for PT and get to take a test to get promoted. You ain't got to go to the board, things like that. So it's always been a laughing joke. But if I can go back, I would have went Air Force myself. Like I was in RTC in high school, ran track and did everything. But I definitely would have went there. Fort Campbell, all right, that's in Kentucky. I wanted to go to Fort Campbell to go air assault. But every time I went in, every time I went to go put in my application for air assault, either we got deployed or I couldn't get in it. Being at Fort Benning on active duty, even that as an Air Force, not Air Force, but a artillery role, I could have went to airborne school, but I didn't want to go to airborne school. I wanted to go to air assault school. So never got a chance to go to air assault school. That's probably the one school that I did get a chance to go to on active duty that I wish I had the chance to go to. But you being born in Fort Campbell, that's pretty cool on that end. I grew up in South Carolina, so Fort Jackson was about 20 miles from where I grew up at. When I was in high school, they used and our JRTC program had a summer camp that we can do at Fort Jackson. You had to apply for it, so I got a chance to go to summer camp for a couple times for like 2 weeks at Fort Jackson, and you got a chance to do what military soldiers did. So they brought in juniors or seniors, high schoolers from Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and you can go to Fort Jackson for the summer camp. Got a chance to meet a lot of cool friends. Got a chance to see what a lot of the military people did. So we got a chance to do some confidence courses. We did some ruck marches. So when I did go into the military at Fort Sill, 2001, I already had a leg up on everything. I already knew the confidence courses. I already knew the PT scale, ruck marches. I ran track and cross country in high school, so I pretty much had a lot of ins and outs already ahead of the game. I broke a lot of records at Fort Jackson in summer camp, um, and everything. So I enjoyed it there. So if you're on my live again, thanks for being on my live. Okay, Fort Stewart. All right, I was at Fort Benning on active duty. I was part of. I got deployed in 2002 as part of Operation Enduring Freedom. So I graduated basic training in February 2002. I started basic in August. Yeah, I started basic in August 2001. September 11th was my fourth day of basic. So seeing planes go through the tower. 15, 20 people quit on our fourth day basic. Some of my drill sergeants got pulled off the trail. They got sent to their rapid deployment units and they got deployed. So our basic training was kind of hectic. So graduated basic in November 2001. Went across the street and did my AIT while I was at Fort Sill. Graduated in February 2002. Got to my unit at Fort Benning in May 2002. Like 3 months later, I was in Kuwait. We did a lot of security on the border just to make sure that no outside forces was entering Kuwait from the Iraq side of the house. And then we came back around Thanksgiving, December, and then literally got our deployment orders to go to the war a month later. So we was back in Iraq in January for Operation Iraqi Freedom One. And we started going across the berm around late February. We got to Iraq early March, and then the first fire mission was March 21st, uh, 2003. I know that date because that's my mother's birthday. The light went off in the city at midnight. I believe they knew we were coming. We sent a 10-round fire mission to to six of our tanks. One of our tanks got closer than the other five, so we sent the fire for effect for another five more rounds, six tanks. So 5 rounds apiece, six tanks is 30 rounds. When the sun came up, it was carnage everywhere. Buildings blowing up, bodies everywhere. But we had a couple firefights that we ran into when the light came up. So we saw the enemy from a little distance. We traded rounds from our tanks. I was the fire direction center specialist. So when the infantry was ahead, they sent us the grid coordinates, and then we'll put the grid coordinates in our system, and we'll send the fire mission to the tanks, and then the tanks will shoot the rounds. So we was on the front line. We communications. We if we ever got captured, that can be bad, and everything there. So not 200 people quit, 20 people quit. So we might have had we might have had about 120 people in our battery. So it was four different platoons. I think each platoon had about 30 people in it. But we had about 20 people quit. In 2001, people say that they tell drill sergeant that they refuse to train. And when they say they refuse to train, they'll do what they can to still get people to stay, get those people to stay in. But um, the people refuse to do what they're told to do, then they get chaptered. So about 20 of them got chaptered out. I think they got a general discharge, and then I think within 6 months it flipped from general discharge to honorable. Is what I was told, but we lost about 20 people. So we started with about 120. There's about 30 people in every platoon. Four platoons of 30. I think we ended up graduating with about 100 people. I think five people had to get retrained, so they got pushed back because they either didn't pass the PT test or the ruck marches, so they got held back to the next cycle caught up. So I think we graduated about 100. They graduated 100. We lost 20. But it was pretty crazy when you heard that the planes flew into the towers. Because I mean, seeing my drill sergeants have to like lead the drill sergeant trail and go to their units, whether it was at Fort Bragg or Fort Benning or Fort Drum, like they literally got pulled off the trail and got sent back to their unit and got deployed. So it's pretty crazy how that was crazy. Um, Giraffe student athlete. So Warner Robins, we flew out of Warner Robins a couple times for our deployments. So I believe Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom 3. We took a bus from Fort Benning up to Warner Robins, and we flew from Warner Robins to Germany, switched planes, and then to Kuwait, Azerbaijan, and Doha, depending on how the rotations went on that end. And anyone that's on the live that have subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. I like the dialogue when I go on and people have questions about either the military or if I talked about any hikes I've gone on, places that I've hiked that someone else may have hiked, and etc. Yeah, I'm sure the military is accepting a lot of people now. Um, that's something that I would definitely I don't know if I would have went back in the military. I mean, if I was a kid right now that was on the verge of graduating, if you ask me would I go back in the military all over again, I don't know. I got a chance to meet a lot of cool people when I was in the military. And it was a couple times when I was in the military that I had choices. I could have re-enlisted. Um, I think during my last deployment in 2005, they kept trying to get me to re-enlist, but I was an E5 at the time, and I wanted I wanted a medical role at Fort Sam, and it would have required me taking a demotion, so I would have had to lose my rank, go from E5 to E4, just to accept the role, and I didn't want to lose my rank just to re-enlist. Like it's hard to become an NCO in the army, and to work hard to get my E5, working towards trying to get my E6, and the role I wanted at Fort Sam required me to lose rank. So I was like, I'm not really listening if I got to lose my rank. So I decided not to re-enlist. My first sergeant and the career counselor while we was deployed in Iraq kept calling me into the office almost every every week or so, and Man, we're in the combat zone, so like the last thing I'm worrying about is re-enlisting. Man, I've been deployed 3 times in 3 years. I got stop loss. I was supposed to get out of the military in August 2005. That was my 4 year obligation, but because I had a job that was a critical job in the army and it required a secret clearance, I got stop loss. So us being deployed in 2005, the same year I was supposed to get out, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get out in 2005 with the deployment. That was a 1 year deployment, so we didn't get out. We didn't get back to the states till January 2006. So, and I wasn't able to get out until August. I mean, to April 2006. So I got stop loss for 8 months, and then the first thing that came to mind was, do I want to run the risk of being recalled, or would I just rather go in the reserves to finish out the remaining 3 years and 4 months? So I decided just to chop it up and just finish the rest of my inactive time for the most part in the reserves. So I went to the reserves. I wanted a finance management role. Um, I signed up for a finance role and got to my unit at Fort Jackson because that's basically back home. And when I got to my unit, they didn't have a finance role. The person said, "Well, we don't have a finance role," which was a 44 Charlie at the time, but we do have a need for 42 Alpha, which is human resources. We'll get you reclassified as a 42 Alpha. 42 Alpha school is at Fort Jackson, so that was pretty cool. So I was able to move up pretty quick in my reserve unit. I mean, I got my E6. Um, I would use my GI Bill and my TA assistance to get my associates and my bachelor degree. So I got all that there. But I started gaining more weight and wasn't in the best shape that I was in, that I was in when I was on active duty. But I still killed the PT test. Still hit my 270 and extended stills on the push ups, sit ups, and the 2 miles. So, but I got to the point in which I didn't want to stay in the military anymore. My goal was just to do my 8 years straight. Don't get recalled, because if I had got out of the military on active duty, they could have called me right back anytime within 3 years and 4 months. So I just took the time to just go ahead and I just enlisted in the Army Reserves right after. So my military time ended on April 30th, 2006, and then my Army Reserve started the next day. So March 1st was when I started the reserve. So it was like a continuation. So when I got out of active duty, I enlisted in the reserves when I went through I think ACS. They got everything set up for me. Got my orders for the reserve unit, which is basically back home because I'm from Gaston, South Carolina, but it's not too far from Columbia. So getting my orders and everything set up there, that made it really easy for me. I'm not in the reserves. I'm just telling my story with it. So I enlisted for 4 years on active duty. So it supposed to have been August 2001 to August 2005. But my unit got deployed in January 2005. So it didn't let me out in 2005. So I got stop loss. So I stayed on active duty an additional 8 months. And then as I was out processing on active duty, they normally give you options. You want to get out, or do you want to enroll in the reserves, or enlist in the reserves, or the National Guard. So I decided to enlist in the National Guard, but the Army Reserves for 3 years and 4 months, which would have fulfilled my whole 8 years. So I did the last 3 years and 4 months of my obligation, my 8 year obligation, in the reserves as a 42 Alpha at Fort Jackson. On that end, yeah, I would encourage anyone. Man, put it like this: I would just say if you're someone who's in high school or in college and just undecided, the military is not a bad idea to go into if you're undecided. With me, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a lot of stuff going on for me. I was in JRTC for 4 years. I ran track for 4 years and cross country for 4 years. My academics was on point as well, so I couldn't decide if I wanted to go to school for accounting or computer or electrical engineering. I didn't know if I wanted to run track for 4 years or cross country for 4 years. So because I couldn't decide between accounting, computer or electrical engineering, running track or running cross country, I went ahead and went in the military. I figured I'd just go ahead and go to go to the military for 4 years. By the time I get out, then I should be able to decide what I want to do. I had like an $80,000 I had an $80,000 GI Bill and I had a $7,000 sign on bonus. And then because the war started, I got a kicker on my GI Bill as well. So it was just a situation in which I went in the military because I was just undecided of those four things. And I didn't think it was a bad idea to go in because I was like, well, I was just going for 4 years, and then when I get out, I'll go to school. That's what I did. I got out, went to school, got my associate's and my bachelor's degree, and hit the ground running. So um, you can't you can't go wrong there. So if you're someone who is undecided, just be careful. I mean, it's just with the way the war is going on right now, I wouldn't encourage anyone to go in the military. If I was someone who had kids and they was possibly thinking about going in, I would give them the talk about the ins and outs of joining, the benefits, the other things that they that people won't tell you, and then I let them decide from there. Um, I'm not from Georgia at all. I was stationed at Fort Benning for 4 years and 8 months. I'm from South Carolina. So I did 4 years and 8 months at Fort Benning. I was on Kelly Hill, and I was in the first battalion, 10th brigade. I mean, who's here? It was first. It was the first and the 10th. We were part of the third ID, third brigade. The other three brigades were at Fort Stewart. So first, second, and fourth brigades at Fort Stewart. Third brigade was at Fort Benning. But Fort Benning has changed their name now. So Fort Benning is now Fort Moore. I'm not sure why they changed Fort Benning to Fort Moore, but they also deactivated that lone battalion that was at Fort Benning. So there are no longer artillery units on Fort Benning on Kelly Hill. So I'm assuming that when they deactivated my unit got deactivated, I want to say a year or two after I left. Got out of active duty. Um, I don't know if they deactivated all the artillery units and sent them back to Fort um, Stewart or not. But if I'm not mistaken, it was only a Alpha, a Bravo, and a Charlie battery of the first and the 10th. Part of the third ID, third brigade. So I believe that they deactivated the three artillery units that was at Fort Benning on Kelly Hill. That was part of the third ID, third brigade. And they may have sent them back to Fort Stewart. To be honest with you, I'm not sure why we were at Fort Benning anyway. I don't know how long they were at Fort Benning, but for three brigades to be at Fort Stewart and one to be at Fort Benning kind of made no sense. But to each their own. There, Coast Guard. So when I was considering the units, I mean the branches that I was wanting to go in high school, my second choice was Coast Guard. I didn't know anyone who went into the Coast Guard, so I thought about going to the Coast Guard because I'm like, well, that'd be something cool to do. To be near water and different things there. So it was Army first. Then it was Coast Guard. My third choice, if I was looking at it, was Air Force. The fourth choice was Navy. I was never going to the Marines. Marines never. They tried to get me to go to Marines. No, you guys don't get to pick your job and none of that stuff. Um, I done been to Paris Island area before in Beaufort, land of the Sandflies. I had a couple track meets every year. We we'd go to the Beaufort to run a couple track meets every year, and those Sandflies would eat through our clothes. I knew I wasn't going to Marines, so not that it's nothing wrong with the Marine Corps, but it was never my choice of place to go. So it was Army first, Coast Guard, Air Force. But I never pursued the Coast Guard though. I literally just went to MEPS, not MEPS, but went to a recruiting office, and I just went to the Army one. I never went to the Air Force one. Never went to the Coast Guard. But I don't know if I would have changed anything. Like I said, I got a chance to meet a lot of cool people. Got a chance to give back doing deployments. A lot of those deployments were tough. I saw a lot of people die. Um, but we did a lot of things for the greater good. So I can't say it was a regretful time in the military. I had a blast there. The biggest thing that hurt me the most was some of the people that I served with. After they got out, a few of my friends committed suicide, which to this day hurts me. Getting through getting through 2 or 3 deployments on the front line, getting shot at, not knowing if you're gonna make it back to the base, not knowing if you're gonna make it back to the states, and you make it, and then you hear years down the line that some of the friends you serve with committed suicide. It's tough. The biggest issue I had was 2017. I was rolling out a site in Utah. I reconnected with one of the guys I served with. We was in communications. We used to converse at least once a week just to check in on each other. And a week passed by and I didn't hear from him. And I was like, okay, I got to see what's going on. I ain't heard from him in a while because we used to converse on Facebook a lot. So I didn't hear from him for a week, and 2 weeks passed by. And then I happened to look on his page, and his family said he committed suicide. I was like, "Are you serious?" And I tell people when it comes down to PTSD, mental health, you got to make sure that you have a good coping mechanism, a good support system, and etc. His family said that they saw that he was spiraling. He was a very quiet guy, a loner, when I was on active duty. So me and a few friends that was in another. So he was in the first platoon. I was in second platoon. So being that both of us was part of the FDC, he was part of one alpha. I was part of two alpha. Each one of the fire direction centers had like 5 or 6 people part of each squad. So every time that we had stuff going on or we was going out or doing anything, I tried to include him every time just to let him know that hey, it is cool people in our unit, and I try to every opportunity I got a chance to reel him in, either if we were doing something on the weekend in the barracks or just was doing something to the team. I tried to make sure that he was a part of it. So when we reconnected a couple of years or a few years ago, I was like, all right, cool. I got a chance to reconnect with at least 9 or 10 more of the people I served with as well. So when I saw his family said that he committed suicide, it hit me. It hit me hard. I was like, what really upset me about his family is they saw the signs. They saw that he was being a loner. They saw that his and they didn't do anything about it. So when I read what they said, it really upset me because I'm like, I don't want to say that you got one job to do, but if you have someone that's been deployed several times and you notice that things are changing, you need to check on them. You need to see if they need anything and etc. You can't just not do nothing. Like doing nothing caused him to feel like he didn't feel that that them doing nothing made him feel that he didn't need to be here anymore, and that's what he did. He committed suicide, and they they regretfully um, felt bad about the situation. 'Cause they stated in their own words that they should have took action. They should have followed. They should have did just as nothing. They didn't. So what I would tell anyone out there, like if you have someone that have mental health issues, or you know someone who's been deployed that has PTSD, check in on them from time to time. Make sure that they're okay. Don't assume anything. You'd be amazed, like someone like myself that has PTSD from my three deployments. We all have our moments, you know. Any idle time that you have to yourself, people tend to think about different things. Like if your mind wanders and you're someone who has PTSD, that's not a good combination at all. I've told people to this day, I don't want a gun. I don't want any type of weapon that I can get my hand on. I'm proficient in every weapon you can think of. I don't want a weapon, man. Mentally, I'm good to go right now, but I would just say as a whole, you don't want someone with PTSD don't need a weapon at all. Because you got to think, I'm expert in so many different weapons, so I'm not gonna miss at all. So I'm someone who I'm proficient in a lot of weapons, expert on a lot of weapons. I just think mentally, you never know, and a person with PTSD don't need a weapon. That's why I like doing what I do, which is going on hikes, sightseeing, having that work life balance. It's very important in life that you have a good balance. I was a lifelong 49er fan all my life, so I went out on a limb 4 years ago to see if I can get season tickets, and I got it. So me being able to get season tickets, and Niners reached out to me. I got everything situated, and I got it. But I would just say it's very important that if you get time each week, do something for yourself. Like with me, even though I'm changing careers, I've had a lot of time to reflect and reset the last few months. So I love hiking throughout the year and in different states, going to national parks. So um, being in Colorado is so many parks and trails I can hit. So I've had the best moments over the last few months. Going hiking, I love chasing waterfalls. I love seeing river, lakes, and streams, wildlife, and etc. I've had a blast going around, enjoying Colorado. Steve, thanks for recognizing my service. Appreciate it. But yeah, it's just I just believe in life that you gotta cherish the moments that you have, and those relationships. Like anyone I meet, um, on my road the last 41 years, I made sure that I cherish those relationships because you never know if the paths are gonna cross again. Many times those paths crossed again, but because of my relationship I had with them or the experience that someone had with me, it was a very memorable one. So it came to the point that I met someone again and they knew who I was, and because of how I treated them, because of how I worked with them, everything worked out for me, and vice versa. So it's very important that when you get opportunities to make an impact in someone's life or meeting them, it's very important that you get a chance to just smile through the process. I smile a lot. Even if I got things going on, I'm gonna put the best on the outside. I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna give. I'm not gonna never let anyone know that if anything going bad in my life, because there's always a time when you should separate what you got going on, put the best on the outside, and move forward. So I had a blast on this live, everyone. I got a late checkout tomorrow, so I don't have to rush and get up. I probably will wake up a little early and get some breakfast. Um, but I already grabbed a whole bunch of snacks from the game. I ate a lot. I ate a whole bunch of nachos. I ate a whole bunch of fries, fountain drinks, Skittles, M&Ms at the game. I took me some. I grabbed me some peanuts and some candies on the way to go, so I can snack on them tonight or tomorrow. And I had some Wingstop that I picked up yesterday. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my Wingstop. But it's been an honor being on live today, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for your support. Any contribution that you made to the channel, I really appreciate it. So those likes, those comments, and any new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. On my channel, you will see a lot of nature walks with me hiking, waterfalls. You'll see me at 49er games, and you'll see me sightseeing from time to time throughout the year. I am catching up on a lot of things from a few years back that haven't had traction on my channel. So a lot of my long form videos that may not have been lengthwise long, that may have been like maybe 17 to 45 seconds or 1 or 2 minutes long. I decided to convert them to shorts. So the last couple of days, I got a lot of hits on that material. I believe I got about 13, 14,000 views on my Big Sur videos from California a couple years back. It's a nice coastline with ocean views and waterfalls. So I, I converted a few of those long forms to shorts. And I did the same thing for Yellowstone National Park. I saw a lot of nice geysers while I was there, including Old Faithful. So I converted a few of those long form videos to shorts and got a lot of hits on those. So I'm continue to evolve on this channel. I'm continue to also do what I can to put a smile on your face and give you a reason to smile. Um, I am on IG as well. Traveling with Promise is also my tag on there. So Traveling with Promise with two L's on IG and on YouTube are my channel names. So Traveling with Promise with two L's is there. I'm on YouTube, I mean on Instagram from time to time. I'm very behind on uploads to IG. I did do a refresh a few months ago. I used to have over 2 or 3 thousand posters on there, but I deleted about 1,800 of them. So I only have about 200 posters on IG. Just trying to figure it out like I am on YouTube. So hopefully, once I figure this out on YouTube and IG, I'll be able to get more traction. Okay, I have a couple federal government roles applications for Hill Air Force Base in Utah. So don't be surprised. I may end up there. So I literally got I think three or four job applications for Hill Air Force Base in Utah. So that's on my list of places that I'm waiting to interview for. So I may be there. So but yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing the next few days. I'm gonna be going through my archive of videos over the last couple of years, and any long form videos that have not gotten views. I'm gonna convert them over to shorts to see if I get any traction on my shorts, and I'll link that long form video um, to that short to see if it gets any traction. But again, everyone, thank you so much for your support. If you wish to donate to my Cash App, you can. I never push that, but um, Living with a Purpose 20 is my Cash App. So any contribution that you make to my channel, it'll go towards my hacking adventures. And I do more than likely want to get a either Sony or a Canon camera. So I wanted to use my cell phone for pictures and videos, even though the megapixels on my Android is top notch. So I think I'll always still use it for my pictures and my videos, but this is a backup just in case my phone dies. I'm thinking about getting a Sony or a Canon. So being that I'm not monetized yet on YouTube, I'm gonna keep chipping away. There, I have my subscribers that I need, but watch hours, I'm probably about 2,700 hours off. I believe I got 334 hours so far. So I'm still trying to tweak everything. But again, everyone, thank you for your comments today. Um, and and I really appreciate everyone for everything that they're saying. And uh, I look at everything. So I look at the negative comments, the positive comments, any um, any improvements that people give for me. I take it in. I do a lot of research from time to time to see what works. I believe my biggest opportunity on YouTube now is not my content. I believe it's just the titles. So I've been using Chat GPT for titles to help out with the SEO, so the search engine optimization, just to see if it would give me the best titles for my content. I have amazing content. So if I were to go on my thumb drive and look at all of the videos I have and pictures over the last few years, I probably have over 20,000 pictures and probably so if I have 20,000 pictures, I probably got 10% videos. So I may have between 2,000 and 2,500 videos, whether it's been the place that I visited, everyone, it's once in a lifetime. So I've been to Maldives, Bora Bora, Brazil, Italy, Paris, South Africa. I've been to China. I've been to Dubai. My military deployments, Germany, Kuwait, 42 states that I've gone to. I've been to 16, 17 different national parks. I've been to about 8 or 9 national forests. Um, Probably 25 to 30 total countries. So I have a lot of content that I've captured over the last few years, and I just want to share it with the world. So if you're someone who may wish to go to a place that I've been to, but you'll never get a chance to go, you can live through me. You know, I all those memories that I've captured live through me on the channel. If you want to go to Bora Bora, look at my playlist. I got Bora Bora on a playlist. If you want to go to Maldives, click on my Maldives playlist. Paris, Brazil. You can live through me on every one of my experiences, and it'd be like firsthand. So, every for every video that I have, I do have a playlist that complements it. So Paris, Bora Bora, Maldives, Brazil, Rocky Mountain National Park, Yosemite National Park, Arches, Zion, Glacier, Yellowstone, Grand Tetons. All those national parks got separate playlists, and if you're someone who loves waterfalls, I have a master waterfall playlist, and then I have separate waterfall playlists for different places. So Rocky Mountain has a playlist, Yosemite has a playlist, Yellowstone, all have separate playlists of waterfalls. If you're someone who like ocean views, I got playlists for ocean views. I got playlists for lake views. It's a one-stop shop. So again, everyone, I'm very humbled by the responses I received on this live today. But I just wanted to just hop on live and just have a face to face with everyone. Share some dialogue, answer some questions, just make myself accessible. I'm someone who's authentic. Anything I upload to YouTube is filmed for me. Um, I rarely do any I rarely do any enhancements to my material. So most of my material is raw from my video with no edits. So that kind of sets me apart from the next creator on YouTube. So been on live for an hour and 16 minutes. It's been a long day. But the 49ers, we got the win over the Cowboys. Um, I got a chance to speak with everyone on live today. So, again, everyone, thank you for your time. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit the notification. Um, that way, if I were to go live or upload new content, you'll be the first to know. So, definitely hit the notification bell. I hope everyone have a great week. Excuse my yawning. Again, it's been a long day. But I hope everyone have a great week upcoming. As the week progresses, if I hear any new things um, this week regarding my channel or job opportunities that come available, trust me, you'll know. I will jump on live and just have that open dialogue with everyone. But yeah, it's been a good day. We beat the Cowboys and heading back to Colorado tomorrow. And then again, everyone, I should have some new content that I'm probably going to capture probably as early as Tuesday. But when I get off live today, I will go and change up some of my long form to shorts. So I'll be doing some more conversions on that in a few minutes. So stand by for some more shorts content that will lead into that long form content there. So be blessed, everyone. Have a great week. And as always, everyone, keep your head up, keep moving forward. Don't give up on your dreams, and just know that the best is yet to come. Take care. Peace and blessings.